This is the frustrating admission of secular specialists. They admit it, and yet I used to be in their camp, so I do understand. Number one, life origins impossible to imagine, more distant than ever. This is from Scientific American. The Scientific American article by John Horgan on creating life in a test tube states that this goal seems more distant than ever. The author quotes Harold P. Klein of Santa Clara University, chairman of a National Academy of Sciences committee, that recently reviewed origin of life research, and he wrote, "The simplest bacterium is so complicated from the point of a chemist that it is almost impossible to imagine how it happened." In fact, you can't imagine how it happened, or you try to reproduce it. Number two, scientific progress. Are we making any progress? The headlines and then the small print and the concept. I get science news regularly and daily. There's some idea. Well, they think now the warm vents in deep ocean currents with a unique chemistry could have produced the first organisms. Well, that's all they need to keep the pot stirred, to give the public an idea that it's workable. It is not workable. While ignoring the caution of laboratory scientists, microbiologists, popular press releases proceed with the assumption that tidbits of inconsequential compounds play a major role in discovering a chain of such compounds that will somehow develop into living systems. And they ignore that. Let me just illustrate it. A current student instruction article illustrates this point. Quote, "Key sugar for life on Earth could have formed in space." All right. That's simply carbon-based. Sugar is carbon-based. So, they've actually found that some of these sugars can form in space. Oh, that means that life could have originated out there in space. Really? Stay with me. Lab experiments show that a sugar key to genetic material on Earth can form on ice around young stars. An essential ingredient for life as we know it might have formed in space. Okay, get the might. Later, it might have rained down on a young Earth. If it did, wouldn't make any difference. That's the finding of a new study. The ingredient is the simple sugar ribose, R-Y-B-O-S-E. It is a crucial piece of the chemistry machinery inside cells, so therefore life could have originated in outer space. Absolute tomfoolery, but the general public swallows that to say, well, maybe it could happen. Watch this. Let's get to the real facts. This sugar can form when a blend of ices are blasted with ultraviolet radiation. The ices that the team worked with are common on comets. Scientists believe they also coat the grains of interstellar dust that swirl around young stars. Fine. The researchers then examined chemicals that had formed on the ice. They found about 55 different organic or carbon-based molecules. Ribose was one of them. So life could originate in outer space. Oh, by the way, those 55 different organic carbon-based compounds were in the exhaust of your car that you drove to the museum. And when you start it up again, you will dispel more of those. That means next week, we have some little green men who are going to creep through the grass because you seeded it with these organic compounds. Do you know what all of that means? I used a term this morning I haven't used in 20 years. You know what that amounts to? It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. It means nothing. Nothing. If that sugar ribose would produce life naturally, we'd have little green things in all the grass. Yet the researchers involved in the experiments and the editors promoting the press releases never informed the public or the students being instructed or indoctrinated that all these carbon-based compounds are readily available on our planet, but none have assembled into a living cell. Not even in the laboratory where sophisticated instrumentation none have assembled into a living cell. Not even the laboratory where sophisticated instrumentation is available to encourage the process. Describing reports from the scientific journal Science. Oh, scientists have created the tiniest life form yet. They're not sure what it is. Most of these scientists are brilliant individuals, absolutely brilliant. One of our consultants, who is a specialist in biology, is a lady. And her IQ is 220. And she's a blonde. Isn't that nice? I have two daughters who are blondes too. Her IQ is 220. Now, 180 is the threshold. 200, you can't go beyond 200, but she consistently aces everything before her. And they finally had to give her a 220 IQ. I think there's only one other individual, and a lady as well. Ladies, you're outdoing us on this. One other individual, a lady who has an IQ higher, but this lady her name's Wanda Matson. She's a part of our academic team. Godly lady, loves Jesus Christ with all her heart. Creationist, believes the Bible literally. She has double major, one in biology, and she will be involved sooner or later in our experiments here. Some years ago, Wanda wrote a technical paper and sent it to NASA. NASA read it and said, why didn't we think of this? They ran this experiment in space. It was one of their most successful experiments. And she's the originator of the concept, and she authored the paper in technical format. She wrote that paper when she was 10 years of age. I'm just trying to tell you, there are smart people around, and some of them run with us at the Creation Evidence Museum. So here we are. These scientists, even scientists who are blatantly atheistic, would not open the Bible for any reason. Many of these are still very brilliant individuals. So they've created a tiny life form